Welcome back. 9/13 is your time, and September is National Suicide Prevention Month. It's a time to raise awareness and normalize finding help. Far too many people struggle without knowing where to go. In 2023, suicide was among the top 8 leading causes of death in the U.S. for people aged 10 to 64. And here to share more on how to fight back is Stanford physician and the author of Gain Without Pain, Dr. Greg Hammer. Dr. Hammer, thanks so much for being on here with us this morning and talking to us about this.
Great to be with you.
Great to be with you. Okay, so you have a new book that just came out. It's called A Mindful Teen, helping today's teenagers thrive through gratitude, acceptance, intent, and non-judgment. Why is this book important now more than ever before?
Great question. I think it is the motivation for writing the book after my first Gain book, the Gain Without Pain book you mentioned, that was published in 2020, was my concern about all of the challenges that teenagers face that I certainly never faced, and even my kids never faced. Social media issues, granted a double-edged sword. There are some good things about social media, but there's also a lot of shaming and bullying and things that I never heard of, like sextortion. And now with AI, I think it's going to be magnified. People can create images, likenesses of others they encounter through social media and use that in some ways against them. But also, I think our great political divide creates a lot of stress within families, gun violence in schools. We certainly never had that. We did nuclear fallout drills under our desks, but I don't think we took that too seriously. Drugs, fentanyl, kids taking drugs that they think are relatively low grade and end up overdosing because there's fentanyl unbeknownst to them in the drug. Eco-anxiety, is there going to be an earth for my kids to inhabit and my grandkids? So many issues that parents, teachers, counselors, coaches can help kids with.
So I want to stick with that topic because last month the New York Times reported a story where a 16-year-old had died of suicide after talking to ChatGPT about it. And it feels like, I mean, I'm a parent myself, my son's only 3, but it feels like there's no handbook. You never quite know what to do. Would you say that this book that you wrote, kind of a handbook to help parents guide these teens through these conversations?
That is the intent of the book, as a matter of fact. So, I have 2 co-authors. One is a PhD psychologist who was at Stanford, is now in San Diego. And the other is an entrepreneur and wonderful author and wonderful guy who's raised kids. I think that is the intent of the book, to be a handbook of sorts. So we talk about what are all the pitfalls, many of which I mentioned, of being a teenager these days. Even since I wrote the book, things have changed, I think, further. For example, cell phones are not allowed in most schools now. That was kind of a new development when I started writing the book, at least. But no, it's intended to be a handbook. We talk about parents' roles in helping kids with all these things, the role of mindfulness in families, and what parents can do to help their teens, and we give lots of specifics.
Was there anything else that research for this book that you found surprising?
Well, I did find some things surprising. Like I mentioned, sextortion. I've never heard of that, but there's a lot of transmitting of revealing photographs online. Of course, we should encourage our kids not to take pictures of themselves and send them to boyfriends, girlfriends, or friends. That was a little surprising to me, the extent to which abuse is happening through social media and online. Otherwise, I think most of the issues are kind of in our face every day on the news, and all the politics, the gun violence. There's stories in the news almost every day, unfortunately. It's very sad. Fentanyl-related deaths. So nothing terribly surprising other than a few things related to social media. Most of it is kind of right in front of us. The question is, how do we deal with it?
Yeah, and so with that, I know that this is a handbook for trying to guide teens as an adult, but any lessons in a mindful teen that adults can learn from as well?
Absolutely. I think the point is that we adults, parents, grandparents, teachers, etc., we need to embody these things. Our kids are watching us. They're not going to necessarily listen or do what we tell them to do. They're really going to do what we model. And so these principles of gain, for example, which is a mindfulness practice, let's show our kids gratitude. So when they're complaining, let's remind them how grateful we all are for all of the wonderful things we have in our life. The A in gain, acceptance. There are things in the world we don't like that we can't change, and we're better off accepting rather than resisting them. The I, intention. Let's focus on overcoming our negativity bias and being more present, kind, generous, etc. And the N, non-judgment. We can learn to be less judgmental. Our brains have this amazing quality called neuroplasticity, but we need a practice. We need to learn how to recognize when we're judging, usually negatively, others, the world, and especially ourselves, and how we just let go of those judgments.
Hey, that's a great reminder. Really great tool for all of us to keep in mind. Dr. Hammer, thank you so much for your time. Really quick, in our last 10 seconds, where are we going to be able to find your book?
Well, the book, A Mindful Teen, is on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, lots of other places. So easy to find through your favorite bookseller, I think.
All right, Dr. Greg Hammer, thank you so much for your time this morning.
My pleasure.
Take care. And a reminder to everybody, if you're feeling hopeless, you are not alone. If you or someone you know is struggling or in a crisis, you can call or text the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988. That number is available 24/7. You can also text HOME to 741-741 to reach a live volunteer crisis counselor 24/7. All right, 9:20 is your time. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have more news and weather for you right here on Good Day Seattle. Stay with us.